Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Millennial's Guide to Real Estate Investing. I'm your host, Antoine Martel, and today I have Justin Sliva, the Land Mule. He wholesales houses, but his big business is flipping land. Last year, he did 150 transactions, and he's in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. Thanks for coming on the show, Justin.
Antoine, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring you on the show. I've had a bunch of different kind of guests on the podcast. I've had multifamily people who are doing, hard money, people who are doing other things in the real estate business, but never had anybody who's doing land. So that's why I brought you on. And I wanted to, thanks for coming on.
We go to REI meetups, and we're the only person there that does land, and the people look at us like we're crazy.
For real, yeah, I bet. Because there's a lot of stuff going on in Dallas, Fort Worth right now with the single family homes are exploding, multifamily is exploding, super hot market.
Yep, no, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
We wholesale some houses as well. We did 21 wholesale houses last year, but that kind of is our drain. You know, we find that land, we see great return on investment. We can get in and out cheap, and we have fun with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about how you got started in real estate and especially into the land niche. I know it's a pretty niche area to be in, so why land?
So me and a partner had an Amazon company together. We had 3 number one products on Amazon, and it just wasn't that, everybody teaches us courses, and you're like, oh, it just wasn't doing it for us. And he's like, hey, I think I want to get into real estate investing again. We've both bought and sold houses together. And I said, okay. And he's like, I'm going to do land. And I was like, okay, so we're doing this together? And he's like, no, man, I'm going to do it myself. And he found a group called Land Academy, and he checked out some other, I don't want to call it guru courses, but other coaching courses, and they just had a salesy feel and not really just like a good threshold for us. So we got, he took the Land Academy course, mailed out $500 offers on 5-acre properties, and he got 3 back. And I was like, are you kidding me? You can buy 5 acres for $500? And he's
wow.
like, seriously, dude. And I was like, okay, now I got to do it too. And I was like, okay, cool. So we both got into it at the same time. We actually have a podcast together now because we started this in 2016. And I worked full time. My wife was a stay-at-home mom. She wanted to kind of do something, so I funded the company for her. We sent out our first big marketing campaign and bought 21 properties off of it, and it was just unreal the response we had from our marketing campaign. And that first marketing campaign, and I say 21 properties, it sounds like a huge deal. This is beginning of 2017. Off that, I think our profit was like 75 grand. So you're buying $500 property, you sell it for $1,500. You buy it for $2,000, you sell it for $5,000, and you're just doing these little properties. So your risk is minimum, your cash outlay is minimal, but you have decent ROI.
Yeah.
And that's how it just took off from there.
Yeah. And you said you were turning those land over in pretty short amount of time, right? Like 30.
We see some of those 30, 60 days at that time.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then at that time, so now is it taking a little bit longer or is it even faster?
It's mixed because we've gone up in property class. So now our property, our outlay is about $10,000 to $20,000, and we're selling those for 30 to 45, and so those sit a little bit longer, but it's still not bad.
Got it. And then did you think that, so the Land Academy, talk a little bit more about that. Did you think that was worth the investment? Is that Land Academy still around, or are there other academies?
Yeah, the Land Academy is still around. Stephen Butella and Jill DeWitt, they put together this program, and since they put it together, they started throwing more tools into it. And that's the problem if you're, as a new land investor or any kind of real estate investor, is you don't know where the tools are.
Yeah.
And they have in like a program called Parcel Fact. You put in the county, the state, the APN, and it tells you exactly where the property outline is, gives you it, and land access is king. If you don't have access, you're kind of out of the box, and it tells you previous sales records, things like that, just a quick look. And there's other products out there, but it's rolled into your membership with them. And so it's a great product for you to have access to Title Pro, to Black Knight services, to RealQuest. So when we talk as single family resident investors, a lot of people build their list or buy list.
Yeah.
They teach how to build your own. And so by building your own list, I mean, if anybody knows, if you can build your own list and manipulate the data on the front side, your list on the back side are even better.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then are you still, so how do you go about finding your deals? So you mentioned how you found those first 21 deals.
Yeah.
Was through doing
we use direct mail on everything.
Really? And still to this day, the direct mail is working?
Direct mail with blind offers. And we have a pretty good pricing methodology, and we do the same thing with single family, with multifamily, and it can move into commercial. We haven't bought any commercial yet. It's just how you structure the letter and you price it to get the people calling you back.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then how many letters are you guys sending out to get that one deal? What's typically your
So the Land Academy says they do one for 300. The sweet spot I like to buy in is $1,000 to $2,000 per acre market range, and I shop 20 acres and above.
Okay.
To do that, if I send 1,200 mailers out, I'll buy 2 properties out of that, and I'll get about 6 or 7 yeses back. So
Got it.
I call it about 1 to 600, and that's we're closing on those, and the minimum you're going to make is about $12,000 at that with my pricing.
Got it. Okay. So you're buying the land for $20,000, and then how do you know? For example, you're buying it for $1,000 per acre. That's what you said, correct?
That's what I'm going to sell it for. So I'd offer $350 an acre.
Okay, got it. Okay, and that's what and then on the sales side, where are you listing those properties to be sold? Do you have another list that you're targeting, which are land buyers that do certain things, or how are you? I know how you're buying the properties through the direct mail, which we've talked about a lot on the podcast. But then on the sales side, what's your sales strategy to get rid of that land in 30, 60 days?
So we kind of take a be everywhere approach. We list on like when you single family residence, you go to MLS and kind of do that. On our bigger properties, we use MLS. We also use like Land Watch, Lands of America, Land and Farm, Zillow. We have Craigslist guys that list Craigslist ads for us in those areas or targeted markets. Because the good thing about the data that you pull on the front side, it tells you who your buyers are.
Yeah.
So if you say I'm buying a piece of property in Nevada,
exactly,
and you pack your letters to California, you geo-target them on your Facebook ads and your Craigslist postings, and you're doing a little bit better.
Got it.
So just hit it with that and just go full force with it.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then what's your goal for this year? So 150 flips of land last year, and I know you guys are also lending, which we'll get into as well. But are you trying to do 300 deals this year, or what's?
No, I don't want to go to the deal goal. My land goal is pretty simple. I want to do $10,000 a month with it.
Okay.
Because the lending business is where my primary focus is right now.
Okay.
So if we do 1 deal a month on my land side with how we just discussed buying it, then we make that $10,000 a month. And our private funding is where I've been really focusing because I get to help people grow and get over that hump of $100 an acre properties. And we kind of talk about that. We hit on that a little bit with that $500 for 5 acres, but that's not sustainable for a business. You can't grow your business at that margin. It has great ROI on a percentage base, but you can't get all the tools you need in place, the VAs in place. You just can't carry your business at that point.
Okay.
So we're moving into that to grow that business a little bit more. Currently, we have 50 clients that we've private funded for, and we're seeing them come back on our 3rd and 4th deals now.
Okay.
So ideally, I'd like to turn the original investment we made in that company 3 times this year and have everybody sell 3 properties. So
got it.
The 150 transactions in that side would be amazing.
Okay, got it. And then are you only lending to people in Dallas-Fort Worth, or are you lending to people in all 50 states?
No, we're pretty open. We don't lend, we partner, so we're not a bank.
Okay,
so it's a little bit, so if somebody is a land investor and they say, hey, Justin, I've got this deal, they send me the state, the APN, and the county. We pull it up and double check it like we were buying it ourselves. And then we say yes or no. And what we do is go HUD to HUD with them. They'll run it through title. When we list it, we'll sell it through title, and then we split the difference with them. We put up all the money, the closing cost, and then it's a 50-50 split on the end.
You put up all the money?
All the money.
Holy shit.
Yeah, okay. It's unreal because people are like, dude, you're crazy. You can't do that.
Yeah.
We have a 6-month clause in it that if we don't, we pay you out. We pay you a wholesale fee for finding it, and then we take it and distribute it through our marketing programs. So, but for it to hit 6 months, it's got to be winter in northern Wisconsin, which we have a few of those. But when spring hits, these properties are beautiful, or you're just not listing it, and that's where we come in instead and say, hey, you're not doing your job. Let me come in and get it.
Yeah, and are these land properties that you're normally doing big 20-acre deals that these people are bringing to you?
They range anywhere from the biggest we've had come to us is 917 acres. The smallest we've had is an acre.
Wow.
So they're all over
the whole range. Yeah. And then the biggest question for me is the AR, I guess there's no repair, but the value of that land. So are you taking that you said $1,000 per acre in Dallas, but in northern Kansas or something like that, or Ohio, does that value for the land change, or do you typically see that?
So that's a great question, because everybody that gets in real estate investing that we talked about, you go to the meetups and there's 99 house guys and 1 land guy.
Yeah.
And we all think comp, ARV, what's our repair cost going to be? And with land, the awesome thing is some of these land sites have a map that you just put on map function, right? and you just drill it down to where that piece of property is, zoom out about 5 to 20 miles, and then you see everything that's listed and sold around there, so you get an idea of what that market's done. And these guys that are coming to us usually work with some consulting on our side, and we've shown them how we price. So we know they're going and buying it at less than a third of what that comps out for the county. And then we get that sharpshooter approach, and we know exactly what that property is worth,
Okay.
and what it's doing on all the big markets.
And what website was that?
Lands of America is real easy to use. That's my quick look, and then I'll run it through Land Watch, Land and Farm, Realtor.com, and Zillow.
And to check all the comps.
Yeah, check all the comps. And so we use what it's listed for, because that's kind of what the market's dictating for us.
Yeah.
And then we do it by acre, and then we kind of adjust from there. Try to come in that lower half of that price point.
Got it. Okay. And then is there any value add that you guys have done to the land in the past? Any of your deals or other deals?
We've done a little bit of forced appreciation by subdividing. You can read in some of the counties, you can write in legal descriptions to say, hey, this is a 40 acre. I can write it down to a 10.
Yeah.
We've had some partners do that. We typically look to get in that profit, get it out. When you're talking, 200% on your money, you get out and you make 100, you're still happy about that. It's not that institutional finance. Let's make 8 to 10%. No, we're in it to knock it down. Our guys that have bought with us and sold with us on the plum side are averaging 100% on our money for us, and that's not counting the 100% they took for them. So you're seeing 3 times the money come back.
Yeah. That's awesome. Have you guys ever done anything where you have? I've talked to some land people in the past, and they've actually done like wood or timber, and they've done stuff like that, or planting trees, and then that's actually increased the value of the land. Yeah. Have you guys ever messed with any of that?
We do. I have a couple guys that I loan to that we private fund or we partner with that like the timber market. What they have done is timber guys, when they go to buy timber property, they do it based on the value of the timber, not on the land. And so what we will do is we'll get them the property at 80 to 90% of what the land value is. Then they come in and they either hit home runs with the timber or not. So we have a quick buyer. So they'll buy it before we close.
Got it.
And then essentially for me as a private funder, that's great, because actually I never lay money out. We do a double close. I act as a bridge fund, and I make half the profit.
Yep.
And so we talk about 30 to 90% range on that.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then the people who are typically buying your land for the $1,000, like for example in Dallas, Texas, they're buying these 20 acres. What are those people typically doing with the land? Are a lot of them just holding it long term, or do you actually have some, like for example, if it's 20 acres, what are some of those buyers doing with that? Are they developers who are subdividing it and then selling it off again? Or what do you typically see that your buyers are doing with the land that you've sold them?
Yeah, so I want to clarify something there. We don't typically buy in Dallas-Fort Worth. We buy all over the country. So for me, like today, we just signed a contract on a property to close that we're selling it. We bought it. We closed on it December 18th. We paid $11,000 for it. We had a cash offer of $25,000 today. So that property it's timber designated, but the person wants to put a cabin on it, so they legally can put a cabin on a certain amount of it.
Yeah.
And they're just building an off-grid cabin for them. So. Okay,
got it.
So that's typically what we see is somebody that's buying the dream of rural America.
Yeah.
It's affordable, but it's not at that market we shop. It's a nice enough property somebody can be proud to put a cabin on it and own it for generations.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then have you ever had? You guys also do a little bit of seller financing, so instead of selling the property for $25,000, you'll actually seller finance that. Tell me more about how that works, and because that's some passive income, another income stream that you guys can do with the land as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. So when you do that, you have the ability to charge a little bit more money. You open up your buyer's base, which I'm not telling anything you don't know. But the cool thing with land is you're not talking about $150,000 notes. You're creating your own note for about 30 cents on a dollar. Yeah. When instead of buying a seasoned note for 60 or 70 cents on a dollar, you're buying it for 30. It's your cash in it. We try to price it to where we get our money back out with either the down payment or within the first year, and then finance it out, for as long as we need to make the payment work for them. If it's 5 years or 10 years, we do that, and then we add 10% interest and a monthly service charge for servicing the note.
Got it. And then do you use a servicing company for those notes?
I use a dashboard that Mark Podolsky, he's the land geek. It's called Geek Pay, and so it runs through there, stores all the documents for us. It keeps the taxes straight. It keeps any of the service fees, and they have a real-time dashboard to go into.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because we were doing actually some seller financing too, for some properties that we're selling to investors who can't get financed through regular methods, and then we're
Yep.
seller financing them, and we're using a loan servicer as well to service that loan over
Yep.
time and stuff like that as well. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that we were looking into. That's why I asked you how you were doing it, because there's
Yeah.
probably something unique for the land side.
Yeah, he's a land investor. He teaches a course as well. His this dashboard he uses is real good for us because we set up our land on auto pay with either ACH or credit card, debit card,
Okay,
and so we make that a part of our contract that they sign with us that they're going to pay that way. So we're not chasing checks or anything, and
got
then
it,
we set the default periods and everything, and it keeps track of all that for us.
got it.
So it's a real nice program.
Okay, cool. And then for your direct mail when you're buying those properties, what kind of are you sending out the mailers yourselves, or do you have some tool that you're using to send out all
No,
those direct mails?
that's the cool thing about Land Academy is we talk about the inclusiveness of the tools. They use offers to owners.
Okay,
That's one of their companies. It's they call it OTO, offers to owners, and we spend 59 cents, and that sends us a 2-page letter that's mailed, folded, and our mail merge complete. So they have a copy of my stock letter, and then I send them my Excel file with my list in it, and they have it out, and it goes out standard mail. From the time I approve the proof to when it gets to the mailbox, it's about 2 weeks.
okay.
Um, at 59 cents a piece, you can't beat it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I use a couple of different websites for that. I think it's called Click to Mail is one that I've used before, but that's $1 per piece. So
Yep.
59 cents is a good deal for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then are you sending out? Are you doing a custom letter for each person that you're sending a mail to, or are you actually doing a blanket letter like we're
Well,
offering 1,000 or $350 for every acre?
yeah, so kind of the same. It's a mail merge, so it has their first name in it. It has
Yeah,
their
yeah.
information, and then on the pricing, we do it by per acre pricing. So if I know if this county I'm going to offer $357.68, I build a formula into the Excel spreadsheet and then click runs
Oh,
everything down. And so it says any 20-acre property in this county I'm offering $7,937 for.
got it.
And,
Okay, I like that. Okay, cool. And then is it just saying that number on the letter that you're sending, or do you actually put an actual offer?
I actually have there's a cover letter that tells us about the company,
Yeah.
and second page is actual purchase agreement with the price, everything ready to go. All they have to do is sign and send it back, and then we open title from there.
Oh, wow. And then do you
Yeah.
give them a return mailer so that they can send that back to you?
We give them a number to call, which we answer with an answering service called Pat Live in Florida. That's 24 hours a day. They can answer it, and then they send me those leads. Or we use fax, email. They have that, or they can mail it back themselves. We don't put a return mailer in it.
Okay, got it. Wow. So what I was looking to do for my single family side of things, I focus on very specific zip codes, and I
Yep.
know the prices that I need to buy properties at now in order to make them make sense for me to resell them. So I was actually thinking of doing that exact same thing where I can send out blanket offers to all these addresses for X amount of dollars that I want to get in them at, send them
Yep.
a front letter, and then I was wondering if it was even legal to send out all the offers in the mail and have people sign it. I didn't know if it was legal or not, but I'm assuming
Yeah.
that it is now.
Yeah, some states you can't use public record for solicitation. So they say you're soliciting for that. But and in what you're asking to do, we actually have a letter built for that because that's how we buy our wholesale houses.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you get everybody says, hey, I buy houses, and then they're like, okay, well, how much you give me? And you get so many of those calls back. Well, we say, hey, we'll buy your house for this much money,
Exactly.
and we have an inspection clause in it. Our inspection clause, I go in and I actually, like a realtor would, comp by subdivision in a zip code. So if you said, hey, Justin, I want to do 76126, that's Bimbrook, then I pull up a radius from an address and I comp all those neighborhoods by square foot, and then I send it out the offer specific to the square footage on the tax rolls, and so they get a blind offer at a percentage of what it actually comps for.
And
Whether that's
yeah, and
percentage.
is that how you were able to wholesale those houses through that same
Yeah.
system?
Yep.
Got it. And then
So we get it at that point, and I call a buyer that I know in that area, and I say, hey, I've got this house for this much. I'm going to inspect it today. You want to walk it with me? They walk it as my contractor, and we go in, and they tell me yes or no on the spot if they're buying it. And I have to sign a contract in the car when we get out there, and it's done.
wow. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes me think a little bit more.
yeah.
I've,
I'm willing to for you having me on here. I'm willing to let you see that letter I use because we don't shop the same markets.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm willing to let you send that. I can send it to you afterwards.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, because I'm definitely interested in doing that. I actually talked to my team to make sure it was legal for me to do that, and then kind of because the hardest part for me about the whole wholesaling thing was being virtual, being out of state.
Yeah,
So I have a team on the ground, but it's really hard to get to go from the phone call to the closing or
yeah,
getting them to sign the contract. A lot of these people are older folks and they don't really trust they're getting a bunch of mailers, but nobody's sending them offers in the mail that they
yeah,
can sign and mail back, and even giving them a return envelope could be, something else that I could even do, and I'll just get the letters sent back to me because they are older. They may just want to sign it and
yeah,
then wait for me to, and then they have my contact information in there and they can give me a call.
yeah,
Um, so that's something too that I've been trying to figure out for the last 2 years about how can I virtually wholesale. And I've done the direct mail that says, "Hey, give me a call." But the issue is that when I get the phone call, then it takes my guys 48 hours to get out there or to set up a meeting with these people. And they have to talk to me. They have to talk to the guy on the ground. Then they see somebody come in, and then they get freaked out because there's all these people involved, and
yeah.
it's their house that they're living in. So you only kind of have one shot to get it done right, to get them signed the contract and to close on the property.
No, you're exactly right. And the cool thing about sending the blind offer is you started your negotiation point at that time. So
Yep.
you send an offer on a house for 125,000 bucks, and they call you back and they're wanting to negotiate. Well, they know where you're at, so them coming back and saying, "Hey, no, I want $250,000 for it," you know you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But then you say, "Hey, I don't want to do 125, but can you get me 135?" And at that point, you're like, "Okay, well, if I offered 52 cents on the dollar of median comp, now I know I'm in the ballpark, and let's
Yeah.
see if it's going to be this bathroom done or this countertop or whatever that may be." And we walk in and we know that going into it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's
yeah,
that's definitely a great idea because a lot of people are looking to get into virtual wholesaling, especially people in California who don't have much capital, but they're willing to spend a couple $1,000 for this mailer.
yeah,
And then, but it's just like I've been pushing people away from doing the virtual wholesaling because of that fact. Like you really
yeah,
need somebody on the ground who's going to be a closer, who's going to pick up all those phone calls and do all those deals. But you're giving away a lot of your profit then to that closer
yeah.
who's on the ground.
Yeah, a cool thing, Land Academy, we kind of help instruct, kind of build with some of the way we shop and manipulated the data on our house side. But they're coming out with House Academy. It's supposed to be here at the end of the month.
Oh, really?
It's essentially what you're talking about right now: how to put boots on the ground, how to do the blind offers, how to do all this together, and it puts all that into a course, and it's coming up at the end of the month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coming soon.
And is that going to be focusing on wholesaling?
It's going to be fun. That's what they do with it. It's going to have both outs. I think I haven't seen the course yet. I just because we talked about, hey, when I first started this course, I spent like I told you, we bought that first set of properties in January. Well, in April, I got let go from my company, and so I had a choice. I knew that the land business could make money, but I stepped into buying and selling real estate. Well, I went and met with a guy, a private money guy, to figure out how to do this deal. I bought it was 1,700 acres for $1 million, and I went to him to get the money, and he's like, "Dude, it's land. I don't know anything about it, but if you can buy me houses, I'll pay for any house you can bring me." And I said, "Okay, cool." No idea how to wholesale a house, so I called them. They were like, "Oh, well, you can do it the same way. You just got to price it right." And I said, "Okay, cool." So I kind of spent a couple days just figuring out how to price houses and looking through all the data and everything, and started manipulating and got it to work out. We ended up buying 5 houses off 900 mailers. So if you sent 900, can I buy your houses and bought five? That you're just like, there's no way you could replicate that. And
Yeah.
so what we did was we offered a little bit more than we thought, but we went into the inspection and negotiated down on some, and some it was perfect. It was right on that sweet spot. So it worked out well for us.
Yeah, because I've been. So you only sent 900 one time, and you got.
900 for a targeted market was like a
Oh
2 mile radius.
oh my god. So I sent 2,000 mailers for 6 months straight, and I got like three. I got two deals that I had the inspection go through, but then it was like too many people involved. So
Yep.
I sent probably 6,000 mailers and got two back. And then
Okay.
one of them we were going to close on, but then that one that we were going to close on actually needed way too much work, so we ended up backing out. But that's ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, and it
Buying
was kind
five.
of just a weird thing. I don't think this market had ever been hit. It was just outside of Fort Worth,
Yeah.
Dallas, so it wasn't getting hit by every wholesaler with "I'll buy your houses." And then we came in with an offer. They knew what we were asking, and then they would say, "Hey, can you get us 5,000 more or less?" Well, as soon as we're in the door, we're in the door. You know, they're wanting to sell at that point, and that was just the first go at it. So I was like, if it's this easy to buy and sell houses, we can do some more. In the last 6 months, we sent out about 25,000 mailers and bought, I think there's about 7-8 houses. So we're seeing about a 1 to 3,000 ratio, give or take the markets we're hitting.
Got it. Okay, that's still pretty good numbers though.
Yeah, but we will wholesale, but we are set up to flip too. So I use a partner that I say it's a partner. We do the exact same thing. We don't shop over each other, but if I buy, I want to wholesale him, I'll give him the option. He'll give me the option. And so we both work independently, but we work together, if that makes sense.
Yep, got it.
And so we are both set up to flip houses, and we are both set up to wholesale. And he owner finance houses. I don't do that. So if it's a good tote the note candidate, he'll go in and buy it from me with a small assignment fee.
Yeah, no, I like that too. Yeah, and focus. I always tell people to stay focused on your niche and what you're focused on, and then if there's other aspects that other spokes that can come off the hub that you built, then just bring in other people to manage those spokes, because a lot of people just start with land and then they go into single family flipping and then they're in commercial and then they're like doing all this stuff, and the thing that made them the most money was the land at the very beginning, but they kind of moved away from that over time to chase the next squirrel down the rabbit hole. So
the shiny
objects. Shiny objects.
We talked about that. We actually have a little podcast we started this year, and we talked about that on that this week. Is just got to get over that. Build your machine for what you're good at and what you see money at, and then everything layers on each other. So if I said, "Hey, how to go to escrow" or things like that, you understand that, because whether it's land or a house, it's the same type of thing. It's an asset you're trying to buy, and so you can layer little pieces on, but you have to get hyper focused on the pricing methodologies. And that was the cool thing about Land Academy is the inbound flow is there because it's based off the assessor parcel number, the APN. And that's what I'm pulling when I build my list. Yeah. And everything that pays taxes that's a building or a piece of property has one. And so from there, I can adjust whatever I need to make it look like I need to.
Got it. And does the Land Academy help you build up that list, or do you use something like List Source, which actually pulls all the records?
No, so they included in your enrollment that you get access to RealQuest. That's a CoreLogic company. Okay. And then you just go into any county, any APN, you can sort by a radius of XYZ, and you pay 10 cents a line of data before you go scrub your list. So, 1,000 records is going to cost me $100.
Oh, wow. So, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then
they even offers to owners, if you decide to go and you don't want to pay for Land Academy, you don't pay for the monthly subscription, for $1, they will give you the county information and mail the letter for you. Oh, so if you said, hey, I have 20-acre properties in, I don't know, Stevens County, Washington, and you say, I'll give $10,000 a property for 20 or $500 an acre, they will mail that for you and send it out.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Stuff. So it's cool that you see that type of inclusion of tools when you get to some of these courses, because a lot of times I bought the houses for pennies on a dollar book back in like 06, 07. And I read it, and I'm like, okay, now what do I need to do? I've got this book that tells me I can do this, and this, but it doesn't have the details. Yeah. And it's getting through those holes in the courses and seeing where you go with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, is there anything that you want to plug? What's the name of your podcast that people can go and check you out and see if there's more that they can learn from you?
It's called Casual Fridays, REI. We drop a new one every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We actually have a free land giveaway. It's on the 10th episode. It's on Wednesday. So I know it's going to be a little bit early for our listeners here, but keep an eye out. We'll do something similar. And then if you decide to go look at Land Academy, my land investing company, Plum Investment Group, does have a code with them to help save new investors. It's $500 off, and it's called Fund, F-U-N-D, me. It's one word, and it'll save you $500 with your course.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and your company, if people want to get into land and they're looking for a partner to partner with, can they reach out to you on Plum? What's the website for that?
Justin at pluminvestmentgroup.com. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook, so you can find us there too.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, and it was cool talking to you about land and doing all that kinds of stuff. I hope some people go listen to your podcast, learn a little bit more about the land side of things, and thanks for sharing about the whole marketing tactics. That's what I had questions about too, is how to send out those offers, and I was literally on my to-do list on something to start trying, and now I know that I can go and start implementing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like I said, if you have any questions, I'll walk you through it. and we can get you moving. You know, I don't know your market, so I
Yeah.
couldn't give you pricing on it, but I can tell you what ranges I price in,
Yeah.
and you just replicate it whenever you want.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast again, and I hope some people reach out to you with more questions and shoot you an email. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yep, thank you.